In the bustling streets of Lagos, where the sun blazed relentlessly and the air hummed with the rhythm of ambition, lived Amara, a young woman with dreams as vast as the Atlantic Ocean. Amara was a seamstress, her fingers deftly weaving stories into every stitch of the vibrant ankara fabrics she transformed into elegant gowns. Her small shop, nestled in the crowded Balogun Market, was a kaleidoscope of colors, attracting customers from all walks of life. But Amara's heart yearned for more than the clatter of her sewing machine. She dreamed of owning a fashion empire that would dress the elite of Nigeria and beyond. Amara's life wasn't always this vibrant. Orphaned at 10, she was raised by her strict but loving Aunt Ngozi, a no-nonsense woman who sold pepper soup at the market. Aunt Ngozi had taught Amara resilience, but also caution, warning her about the dangers of chasing dreams too far from reality. "Lagos will eat you up if you're not careful," she'd say, her eyes narrowing as she stirred her spicy broth. Yet, Amara's spirit was untamed, fueled by the stories of Lagosians who rose from nothing to greatness. One humid morning, as Amara arranged her latest designs, a sleek black SUV pulled up outside her shop. Out stepped Chike, a tall, impeccably dressed man with a smile that could charm the stars. He was a businessman, or so he claimed, with a penchant for tailored suits and an air of mystery. "I need a bespoke outfit for an event," he said, his voice smooth as velvet. "I've heard you're the best in Balogun." Amara blushed, but held her ground. "You've heard right, but quality takes time and money." Chike laughed, a deep, infectious sound, and agreed to her terms. Over the next week, as Amara worked on his order, Chike visited daily, each time lingering longer, sharing stories of his travels and ambitions. He spoke of connections with Lagos's elite, of galas and contracts that could change lives. Amara was captivated, not just by his charm, but by the possibilities he represented. However, not everyone was charmed. Aunt Ngozi, with her sharp instincts, distrusted Chike. "That man's smile is too wide," she warned Amara one evening as they locked up the shop. "Men like him promise the moon but leave you with dust." Amara dismissed her aunt's caution, her heart already weaving dreams of a future with Chike's influence opening doors to her fashion empire. As days turned into weeks, Chike's visits became more than business. He took Amara to upscale restaurants in Victoria Island, where she tasted jollof rice garnished with gold flakes and sipped wine that cost more than her monthly rent. He introduced her to Chief Okonkwo, a wealthy entrepreneur who owned half of Lagos's real estate. Chief Okonkwo was impressed by Amara's designs and hinted at investing in her business if she could deliver a collection for his daughter's wedding. This was the break Amara had prayed for. She poured her heart into the wedding collection, working late into the night, her shop glowing under the flicker of a generator. Chike was there, encouraging her, but also pushing her to dream bigger. "Why stop at Lagos? Your designs could grace runways in Paris," he said, his eyes gleaming. Amara, caught in the whirlwind of her ambitions and Chike's charisma, barely noticed the subtle shifts in his behavior. The secretive phone calls, the vague answers about his business. One evening, as Amara finalized the wedding collection, a stranger visited her shop. He was rugged, with a scar across his cheek, and introduced himself as Emeka, a friend of Chike's. "Be careful with him," Emeka warned, his voice low. "Chike's deals aren't always what they seem." Before Amara could press him for details, he vanished into the market's chaos. Doubt crept into Amara's mind, but her heart refused to listen. The wedding was days away, and Chief Okonkwo's investment was within reach. She couldn't afford distractions. Yet, as she prepared to deliver the collection, a phone call from an unknown number changed everything. "Amara," a woman's voice whispered, "Chike is not who you think. Meet me at the bar on Adeola Odiku tomorrow night." Amara's hands trembled as she hung up. The vibrant colors of her shop seemed to dim, and the hum of Lagos felt like a warning. Who was this woman? What secrets did Chike hide? And could Amara trust her dreams to a man whose truth was as elusive as the Lagos breeze? The next evening, Amara stood outside the dimly lit bar on Adeola Odiku, her heart pounding like a talking drum. The neon sign flickered, casting shadows on the bustling street where Okadas zipped by and street vendors hawked their wares. She clutched her purse, her mind racing with questions about the mysterious caller. Against Aunt Ngozi's protests, Amara had decided to meet the stranger. She needed answers, even if they threatened to unravel her dreams. Inside, the bar was a haze of cigarette smoke and high-life music. Amara scanned the crowd until she spotted a woman in a corner booth, her face half hidden by a wide-brimmed hat. The woman waved her over, her movements cautious. "I'm Nkechi," she said, her voice as sharp as the heels she wore. Chike's ex-business partner. Her eyes held a mix of pity and urgency. Nkechi revealed a chilling truth. Chike was a conman, a master of charm who preyed on ambitious dreamers like Amara. He'd promised Nkechi a stake in a tech startup, only to disappear with her investment. "He's after Chief Okonkwo's money," Nkechi warned. "Your designs are just his bait." She slid a folder across the table, filled with documents, bank statements, forged contracts, and photos of Chike with other women, all linked to failed deals. Amara's world tilted. The man who'd painted her future in gold was a fraud. She wanted to deny it, but the evidence was undeniable. Nkechi urged her to confront Chike before the wedding, where he planned to secure Chief Okonkwo's investment and vanish. "You're not the first, Amara," Nkechi said, "but you can be the last." Torn between betrayal and determination, Amara returned home, the folder heavy in her hands. Aunt Ngozi was waiting, her face etched with worry. "I told you, Amara," she said, pulling her into a hug. "But you're strong. You'll fix this." Amara nodded, her resolve hardening. She wouldn't let Chike destroy her dreams. The next day, Amara delivered the wedding collection to Chief Okonkwo's mansion in Ikoyi. The sprawling estate, with its marble floors and chandeliers, was a stark contrast to her modest shop. Chief Okonkwo's daughter, Adiz, gushed over the designs, and the chief himself promised a meeting to discuss investment. Chike was there, all smiles, but Amara's heart was cold. She played along, watching his every move. That night, Amara devised a plan. She'd confront Chike at the wedding, exposing him before he could swindle the chief. But Lagos had other plans. As she prepared for the event, Emeka, the scarred man from the market, reappeared at her shop. "You're in danger," he said, his voice urgent. "Chike knows you met Nkechi. He's not working alone." Before Amara could respond, a loud crash echoed outside. Her shop's window shattered, and a brick landed at her feet with a note, "Stay quiet or lose everything." Fear gripped Amara, but her spirit refused to break. She hid the note and called Nkechi, who agreed to help her at the wedding. The event was a spectacle, Lagos's elite in their finest, music blaring and Amara's design stealing the show. Chike, unaware of her plan, stuck close to Chief Okonkwo, his charm in full force. Amara's heart raced as she prepared to confront him, but a familiar face in the crowd stopped her cold. Emeka, watching from a distance, his scar glinting under the lights. Was Emeka friend or foe? Could she trust Nkechi? And with the note's threat looming, would Amara's courage be enough to save her dreams and expose Chike's lies? The wedding was a whirlwind of opulence, with Amara's designs shimmering under the chandeliers of the Eco Hotel's grand ballroom. Guests whispered praises, and Chief Okonkwo beamed, but Amara's mind was a battlefield. The threatening note burned in her memory, and Emeka's presence at the edge of the crowd kept her on edge. She spotted Nkechi near the bar, her hat replaced by a sleek updo, signaling she was ready to act. Amara approached Chike, who was charming a group of investors with tales of his international connections. She forced a smile, her voice steady. "Chike, we need to talk. Now." He raised an eyebrow but followed her to a quiet corner. Before she could speak, he leaned in, his voice low. "I know you met Nkechi. Whatever she told you, she's lying. She's jealous of our success." Amara's resolve wavered, but the folder's evidence anchored her. "I have proof, Chike. Bank statements, forged contracts, your scams end tonight." His smile faltered, replaced by a cold glint. "You're making a mistake, Amara. Walk away or you'll regret it." The threat in his voice mirrored the note, chilling her to the core. Before she could respond, Nkechi joined them, her presence bold. "Chief Okonkwo needs to see this," she said, holding up the folder. Chike lunged for it, but Amara stepped between them, her heart pounding. The commotion drew eyes, and Chief Okonkwo approached, his brow furrowed. "What's going on here?" Amara took a deep breath, her voice trembling but firm. "Chief, this man is a fraud. He's using my designs to scam you." She handed over the folder, her hands shaking. The chief's face darkened as he flipped through the documents. Chike tried to interject, but the chief silenced him with a raised hand. "Explain this, Chike." Cornered, Chike's charm crumbled. He stammered, but the evidence was damning. The chief ordered security to escort him out, but not before Chike shot Amara a venomous look. "This isn't over," he hissed as he was led away. The ballroom buzzed with whispers, and Amara felt both triumph and dread. Chief Okonkwo turned to Amara, his expression softening. "You're brave, Amara. I'll honor our deal. Your business has my support." Tears stung her eyes as relief flooded her, but the victory felt hollow. Emeka's warning and Chike's threat lingered like storm clouds. Later, as the wedding wound down, Nkechi pulled Amara aside. "Chike has dangerous friends," she said. "You need protection." She introduced Amara to Inspector Tund, a no-nonsense policeman who'd been tracking Chike's network. Tund promised to investigate, but warned Amara to stay vigilant. Men like Chike don't let go easily. Back at her shop, Amara found another note slipped under the door. "You've made enemies. Watch your back." Her heart sank. Aunt Ngozi, sensing her fear, insisted she move to their family house in Surulere for safety. Reluctantly, Amara agreed, but her dreams refused to dim. She began planning her first major collection with Chief Okonkwo's backing, determined to rise above the threats. But Lagos was never kind to the unprepared. As Amara worked late one night, a shadowy figure watched from the market's shadows. Was it Chike's ally or someone new? And with her dreams finally within reach, could Amara outsmart the dangers lurking in the heart of Lagos? Amara's new life in Surulere was a stark contrast to the chaos of Balogun Market. Aunt Ngozi's modest bungalow, with its peeling paint and creaky gate, felt like a fortress compared to the threats looming over her shop. Yet the notes kept coming, slipped under doors, tucked into market baskets, each one more menacing. "You can't hide forever." Amara's nights were sleepless, her dreams haunted by Chike's venomous glare. Inspector Tund became a regular visitor, updating her on the investigation. Chike had vanished, but his network was vast, tied to a shadowy figure known only as the Baron. Tund suspected the Baron was a powerful Lagos kingpin, but evidence was scarce. "Stay low, Amara," Tund advised. "Focus on your work, and let me handle this." Amara threw herself into her designs, sketching gowns that blended Yoruba motifs with modern elegance. Chief Okonkwo's investment allowed her to rent a small studio in Yaba, where she hired 2 assistants, Kemi and Tolu, both eager young seamstresses from the market. The studio buzzed with creativity, but the shadow of fear never left. Kemi, sharp-eyed and loyal, noticed Amara's tension. "Auntie, you're not yourself," she said one day. "Tell us what's wrong." Amara hesitated but shared the threats, binding her team closer. One afternoon, a new client visited the studio, a glamorous woman named Madame Rose, who claimed to be a fashion exporter. She offered Amara a deal to showcase her designs in Dubai, a dream too tempting to ignore. But something about Madame Rose's polished demeanor felt familiar, like Chike's charm. Amara declined politely, citing her workload, but Madame Rose's smile didn't waver. "You'll change your mind," she said, leaving behind a card with no address, only a phone number. That night, Amara's studio was vandalized. Fabrics were slashed, machines broken, and a note pinned to the door, "Next time it's you." Panic set in, but Amara refused to crumble. She called Tund, who arrived with forensic officers. "This is the Baron's work," he said grimly. "He's sending a message." Tund urged Amara to temporarily close the studio, but she refused. "If I stop, they win." Determined, Amara rallied Kemi and Tolu to repair the damage. Aunt Ngozi brought her pepper soup to the studio, feeding the team as they worked through the night. By dawn, the studio was functional, and Amara's resolve was ironclad. She reached out to Nkechi, who'd been laying low since the wedding. Nkechi revealed that Madame Rose was rumored to be the Baron's front, luring ambitious women into traps. "She's dangerous, Amara. Stay away. But Amara saw an opportunity. If Madame Rose was connected to the Baron, she could lead them to Chike. With Tun's approval, Amara called the number on the card, agreeing to meet Madame Rose at an upscale lounge in Lekki. Tun set up surveillance, promising to keep her safe. At the lounge, Madame Rose was all charm, offering contracts and promises of global fame. Amara played along, probing for information, but Madame Rose was slippery, revealing nothing. As Amara left, she noticed a car tailing her. Heart racing, she called Tund, who intercepted the car, a hired thug, not the Baron, but a lead. Back at the bungalow, Amara found Ngozi praying fervently, a Bible in hand. God will fight for you, she said. Amara nodded, but her fight was far from over. With Madame Rose circling and the Baron's shadow growing, could Amara turn the hunter into the hunted? The Lagos sun seemed to burn hotter as Amara's battle intensified. Her meeting with Madame Rose had yielded no concrete evidence, but the tailing car confirmed her suspicions. The Baron's network was closing in. Inspector Tun's team traced the thug to a warehouse in Apapa, a hub for illegal dealings. We're getting closer, Tun told Amara, but his grim tone betrayed the danger. The Baron doesn't play games. Amara's studio became her sanctuary, where she poured her fears into her designs. Her collection, now dubbed Oluwa's Grace, was gaining buzz, with Chief Okonkwo securing her a slot at Lagos Fashion Week. The opportunity was massive, but the threats grew bolder. One morning, Kemi found a dead rat outside the studio with a note. Your time is running out. Amara's team was shaken, but she rallied them. We're stronger than this, she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Aunt Ngozi, ever the pillar, insisted on hiring a local security man, Baba Leke, a retired soldier with a no-nonsense demeanor. Baba Leke patrolled the studio, his presence giving Amara a sense of security. With Baba Leke's watchful eyes and her team's support, Amara pushed forward, her designs nearly complete for Lagos Fashion Week. But the warehouse lead in Apapa was a ticking bomb. Inspector Tun's raid uncovered documents linking Chike to the Baron, but the kingpin remained elusive. Tund warned Amara that the Baron might strike at the fashion show to send a final message. Determined to turn the tables, Amara devised a bold plan. She'd use her spotlight at Lagos Fashion Week to expose the Baron's network, leveraging the event's media coverage. With Nkechi's help, she gathered more evidence. Text messages, bank transfers, and a photo of Madame Rose meeting a man matching the Baron's description. Tund agreed to have plainclothes officers at the event, ready to act if the Baron appeared. The night of Lagos Fashion Week arrived, the Eco-Convention Center ablaze with lights and glamour. Amara's collection was a triumph, each gown telling a story of resilience. As she took the stage for her speech, her eyes scanned the crowd for Madame Rose or the mysterious Baron. Midway through, she spotted Emeka, his scar unmistakable, whispering to a man in a tailored suit. Her heart raced. Was this the Baron? Amara seized the moment, dedicating her collection to those who rise above deceit. She subtly referenced the evidence, hinting at justice coming for Lagos's shadows. The crowd applauded, unaware of the stakes, but Emeka's companion slipped out, followed by Tun's team. Backstage, Amara's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You've gone too far. Her hand shook, but Kemi and Tolu flanked her, their loyalty unwavering. As the show ended, Tund called with news. The man was an associate of the Baron, not the kingpin himself, but his arrest yielded a laptop with incriminating files. The net was tightening, but the Baron remained a ghost. Amara returned to Surulere, where Aunt Ngozi waited with prayers and pepper soup. You're shaking Lagos, she said proudly. But as Amara locked the bungalow's gate, a car idled nearby, its driver hidden in shadow. Was the Baron watching? Could Amara's triumph at Fashion Week outmaneuver a kingpin's wrath? The success of Lagos Fashion Week catapulted Amara into the spotlight. Her Oluwa's Grace collection was the talk of the town, with orders flooding in from Abuja to London. Chief Okonkwo doubled his investment, and Amara's studio in Yaba expanded, hiring more staff. Yet, the shadow of the Baron loomed larger. The threatening text after the show confirmed he was watching, and Inspector Tun's latest arrest while significant, hadn't reached the kingpin himself. Amara's life became a balancing act. By day, she was Lagos's rising fashion star, sketching designs and meeting clients. By night, she strategized with Tund and Chike, poring over the C's laptop's files. They revealed a web of scams, fake investments, blackmail, and even ties to illegal mining. The Baron's name was a code, Oga Shadow, a faceless figure with loyal enforcers. Emeka, now in custody, refused to talk, but his presence at the fashion show suggested the Baron was closer than ever. Aunt Ngozi insisted on more protection. Baba Leke recruited 2 of his old army comrades, forming a small but fierce security team. Amara's studio became a fortress, with locks upgraded and cameras installed. Kemi and Tolu, now her confidants, took on bigger roles, managing orders while Amara focused on survival. One evening, Kemi found a hidden microphone in the studio's lamp, a chilling reminder of the Baron's reach. Tund uncovered a lead, a gala at the Oriental Hotel, where Lagos's elite would gather, including Madame Rose. This could be it, Tund said. The Baron might show. Amara saw another chance to draw him out. She designed a show-stopping gown for the gala, ensuring her presence would be noticed. Nkechi, now a fierce ally, agreed to pose as a client, wearing Amara's design to bait Madame Rose. The gala was a glittering affair, with politicians, musicians, and tycoons filling the ballroom. Amara, in her own creation, moved through the crowd, her heart pounding. Madame Rose arrived, her smile predatory, and whispered to Amara about a new deal. Amara played along, dropping hints about the laptop's files. Madame Rose's composure cracked, her eyes darting to a man in a corner, tall, unassuming, but with an aura of control. Was this Oga Shadow? Tund's team was ready, blending into the crowd. As Amara danced with a client, she signaled Tund with a glance. The man slipped toward an exit, but Tund's officers moved in, detaining him quietly. Madame Rose vanished in the chaos, leaving Amara shaken but resolute. Back at the studio, Tund revealed the man was a decoy, another layer of the Baron's deception. The laptop's files, however, had bank details leading to a shell company in Dubai. Amara's dreams were soaring, but the threats were relentless. A fire broke out at her old Balogun Market shop, contained but deliberate. A note in the ashes read, "You can't win." Aunt Ngozi, praying harder, urged Amara to flee Lagos, but Amara refused. "This is my city," she said, her voice steel. With the gala's close call and the fire's warning, could Amara stay one step ahead of the Baron's next move? The fire at Amara's old shop sent shockwaves through her world, but it only fueled her determination. Lagos was her home, and the Baron wouldn't drive her out. Her studio in Yaba was now a hub of creativity and defiance, with Kemi and Tolu leading production while Amara worked with Inspector Tund to unravel the Dubai lead. The shell company, Shadow Ventures, was a front for the Baron's money laundering, linked to offshore accounts. Tund's team traced transactions to a Lagos address, a nondescript office in Ikeja. Amara's fame grew, with her designs featured in magazines and worn by Nollywood stars. Chief Okonkwo introduced her to a senator who wanted her to design for a national event, cementing her status. But every triumph came with a shadow. Her phone buzzed with anonymous calls, silent but menacing. Baba Leke's team caught a loiterer near the studio, who carried a knife and another note, "Stop digging or burn." Tund planned a sting at the Ikeja office, suspecting it was the Baron's base. Amara insisted on being involved, offering to pose as a delivery courier to gain entry. "It's too risky," Tund protested, but Amara's resolve was unshakable. "I started this. I'll finish it." Nkechi trained her to act natural, while Baba Leke shadowed her for protection. The operation was tense. Amara, in a plain uniform, entered the office with a package of fabric samples, her heart racing. Inside, she glimpsed files and a photo of Chike with Madame Rose. A man barked orders from a back room, his voice cold, authoritative. "The Baron?" Before she could signal Tund, a guard grabbed her arm, suspicious. Baba Leke burst in, disarming the guard, and Tund's team stormed the office, seizing documents and 2 men. but the man in the back room escaped through a hidden exit. Back at the studio, Tund analyzed the hall, ledgers detailing bribes to officials confirming the Baron's influence. One name stood out, Senator Adebayo, the same man who'd commissioned Amara's designs. Was he the Baron or another pawn? Amara's world spun. The senator's event was days away, a perfect stage for a final stand. She designed a gown embedded with a tiny tracker, hoping to lure the Baron if he attended. The event, a state dinner at Transcorp Hilton, was Amara's biggest stage yet. Her gown, worn by the senator's wife, dazzled the crowd. Amara watched for Madame Rose or the mysterious man, her tracker active. Tund's team, in tuxedos, blended in. As the senator gave a speech, Amara spotted Madame Rose slipping a note to a waiter. Tund intercepted it. End her tonight. Amara's blood ran cold, but she signaled Tund, who tailed the waiter to a car outside. The sting yielded another associate, but the Baron remained a shadow. Amara returned to Surelier, where Ngozi waited with prayers and a machete, her faith and fight intertwined. The seized documents pointed to a final lead, a meeting at a Lagos port. With the senator's event exposing his ties, could Amara and Tund finally unmask the Baron? The port lead was Amara's last hope to end the Baron's reign. The documents from Ikeja revealed a shipment tied to Shadow Ventures, set to depart from Apapa port at midnight. Inspector Tund assembled a task force, warning Amara to stay back. "This is my fight," she insisted, her voice fierce. Tund relented, equipping her with a wire and assigning Baba Leke as her shadow. Nkechi, Kemi, and Tolu rallied at the studio, vowing to keep Amara's business alive if she didn't return. The port was a maze of containers and cranes, the air thick with salt and tension. Amara posed as a customs agent, her wire hidden under a high-visibility vest. Tund's team fanned out, tracking a truck loaded with unlisted cargo. As Amara approached, she spotted Madame Rose overseeing the operation, her face taut. Nearby, a man in a dark coat gave orders, his presence commanding, his face obscured. The Baron. Amara's heart pounded as she signaled Tund. The task force moved in, but the Baron sensed the trap, barking orders to scatter. Gunshots rang out, and Amara ducked behind a container, Baba Leke shielding her. Tund's team apprehended Madame Rose and 3 men, but the Baron slipped into a speedboat, vanishing into the lagoon. The cargo revealed smuggled artifacts, tying the Baron to international crime. Back at the studio, Tund debriefed Amara. The seized ledgers named Senator Adebayo as a financier, not the Baron, who remained at large. Madame Rose, under interrogation, confirmed the Baron was a former associate of Chike's, now a global player. Amara's tracker from the senator's event led to a burner phone, another dead end. But the arrest crippled the Baron's Lagos network, and Senator Adebayo faced charges, his influence shattered. Amara's designs continued to soar, her studio a beacon of resilience. Chief Okonkwo funded a flagship store in Lekki, and Aliwa's Grace became a global brand. Aunt Ngozi, proud and prayerful, hosted a feast to celebrate, her pepper soup a symbol of their survival. Nkechi joined Amara's team, her savvy guiding their expansion. Kemi and Tolu, now designers in their own right, honored Amara's vision. Yet, as Amara stood on her store's balcony, overlooking Lagos's vibrant chaos, a final note arrived, delivered by a street boy. "I'll return." The Baron was out there, a shadow uncaught. Amara clutched the note, her resolve unbroken. Lagos had tested her, but she'd risen, a seamstress turned titan, her dreams stitched into the heart of the city. With Baba Leke's team guarding her and Tund's vow to hunt the Baron, Amara faced the future, her needle sharp, her spirit sharper. The heart of Lagos is a tale woven from the vibrant threads of Nollywood storytelling tradition, capturing the pulse of ambition, betrayal, and resilience that defines Nigeria's bustling metropolis. Amara's journey reflects the spirit of countless dreamers who navigate Lagos's highs and lows, where every corner holds opportunity and danger. Her triumph over the Baron's shadow mirrors the unyielding determination of those who rise above adversity, their stories etched into the city's soul. This saga celebrates Lagos, not just as a place, but as a force that shapes heroes, tests hearts, and rewards the brave. Now, let your own dreams take flight. Share your story, chase your ambitions, and let Lagos inspire you to conquer your shadows.